There is a substance sitting in your fireplace right now that costs absolutely nothing, and it can replace a $40 bag of commercial fertilizer, a $12 bottle of industrial cleaner, and a $25 can of metal polish, permanently, with zero chemistry knowledge and zero equipment. You probably swept it into a trash bag last winter without thinking twice. Maybe you dumped it in the yard or sealed it in a plastic bag and hauled it to the curb. Every single one of those times, you threw away something that medieval farmers sold by the cartload, that 19th century industries built entire empires around, and that 3 separate modern corporations have very quietly made sure you would never recognize again. I'm talking about wood ash, not some exotic compound, not a rare mineral. The gray-white powder left behind every single time wood burns completely, the residue of every campfire, every fireplace, every wood stove on the planet. A material so abundant it literally generates itself from waste, and so chemically powerful that ancient civilizations across 4 continents used it as currency, medicine, and industrial raw material simultaneously. The fertilizer industry does not want you to know what it does to soil. The soap and detergent industry has spent decades making sure you cannot connect it to their products. And the metal polishing and restoration industry built a profitable business on top of it while quietly removing its name from the label. This is the story of potassium carbonate. The $0 miracle they made you forget was sitting in your fireplace the whole time. Welcome to Fixvival. If this knowledge matters to you, hit subscribe and the bell right now. This is where we open every vault they thought they sealed forever. Let me take you back to where this all starts. Not a laboratory, not a university, a fire pit, roughly 10,000 years ago, somewhere in the ancient Near East, at the very moment humanity first learned to cook food and fire clay. The first people to notice it were not scientists, they were farmers, sometime around 7000 BC in the river valleys of Iraq and Iran. Early agricultural communities began disposing of fireplace ash by scattering it across their garden plots. This was purely practical, as the fields were right there. But the results were impossible to ignore. Plants grew faster, taller, and healthier in the ash-treated soil than in any patch that went without it. Grain yields increased visibly within a single growing season. The soil that received ash year after year became the most productive soil in the community. Nobody understood why, but they did not need to. The practice spread from settlement to settlement across the entire ancient agricultural world. By 3000 BC, systematic ash fertilization was documented in Mesopotamian clay tablet records describing optimal spreading rates for different crops. By 2000 BC, Egyptian farmers along the Nile were applying concentrated wood ash lye to flood-deposited silt to accelerate the recovery of farmland. Chinese agricultural manuals from the Han Dynasty contained detailed instructions for composting ash with organic matter to create what they called black soil medicine. But farming was only one chapter of this story. The second discovery happened in a completely different context, and from an entirely different direction. Somewhere in the ancient Mediterranean world, probably around 3000 BC, a cook or a tanner noticed something strange. When wood ash mixed with animal fat in the presence of water and heat, the mixture thickened, became slippery, and produced foam. This was the first soap in human history, and it was not invented. It was discovered by accident from the ashes of a fire. The Romans called the process saponification. They built entire industrial soap workshops using ash lye, water filtered through wood ash, as their primary alkali. Roman medical texts describe ash lye soap being used to treat skin conditions, clean surgical wounds, and preserve food. Soldiers on campaign carried compressed blocks of ash soap as standard kit. The Roman military maintenance manual includes ash lye among basic supplies. By the medieval period, the trade in wood ash had become so economically significant across Europe that it had its own name, potash. Colonial America built its earliest export economy almost entirely around potash production from its vast forests. The first patent ever issued by the United States government, patent number 1, granted in 1790, was for an improved method of making potash. That compound was potassium carbonate, and the civilizations that understood it considered it as fundamental to life as iron or grain. From the hearth to the laboratory, wood ash paved the way for modern chemistry and the growth of human civilization. Now, let me show you why this works, because the science is almost embarrassingly elegant once you see it clearly. When wood burns completely, and I mean completely, no black charcoal remaining, the carbon in the wood oxidizes and escapes as carbon dioxide gas. What is left behind is the mineral skeleton of the original wood. Calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, silicon, trace metals, and above all, potassium carbonate. In hardwood ash, like oak or beech, potassium carbonate makes up 5% to 20% of the weight. The strongly alkaline salt is the engine behind its applications. Potassium carbonate's pH in water solution sits between 11 and 12. In the soil, it raises the pH of acidic soil, neutralizing the acidity. This shifts soil toward the neutral range food crops prefer. Second, it delivers potassium, the K in the NPK ratio on every bag of fertilizer. Third, it delivers calcium and magnesium, secondary nutrients that strengthen cell walls, support root development, and prevent deficiency diseases. In soap making, dissolving wood ash in hot water produces potassium hydroxide, lye, the primary saponification agent used by every soap manufacturer. When that lye solution contacts fat or oil, it triggers a reaction. Molecules break apart and recombine to form a soft, effective potassium soap. For metal surfaces, the mildly abrasive silica particles in ash, combined with the alkaline potassium carbonate, create a gentle chemical and mechanical polish. The alkalinity dissolves tarnish while silica removes material without scratching. This chemistry cleans cast iron and brightens silver right from your wood stove. This is not a supplement to modern chemistry. This is the chemistry, the same compounds and mechanisms. The only difference is the source. Here is where the story takes a very dark, very deliberate turn. Through the entire 18th and most of the 19th century, potash from wood ash was the dominant industrial alkali in the Western world. It supplied the soap industry, the glass industry, the textile industry, and the entire agricultural sector. Entire regional economies in colonial America and Scandinavia and Eastern Europe depended on potash production as their primary export industry. Then, in 1861, a Belgian industrial chemist named Ernest Solvay developed a process for manufacturing synthetic sodium carbonate from salt and limestone. The Solvay process was scalable, cheap, and produced a consistent, pure product. By 1890, the process had captured the industrial alkali market. Natural potash from wood ash became economically inconvenient. Not obsolete, inconvenient. The margins were better on synthetic production at industrial scale. The fertilizer sector followed the same trajectory in the early 20th century. The development of the Haber-Bosch process in 1909 unlocked synthetic nitrogen production. The entire agricultural chemistry industry reorganized itself around synthetic NPK fertilizers, produced in controlled factory conditions and sold in standardized, patentable formulations. A farmer who spread fireplace ash on his fields required no product, no brand, and no annual purchase. A farmer sold on synthetic fertilizer required all three, every single growing season, forever. Think about what that means structurally. The global agricultural inputs market generates over $250 billion in annual revenue. Potassium fertilizer alone represents roughly $25 billion of that total. That is the market value of a nutrient that any wood-burning household produces as combustion waste at zero cost. But here's the thing about chemistry. It does not respond to marketing budgets, and the people who kept using wood ash did not stop getting results. A soil science paper published in 2014 studied wood ash application on boreal forest soils across Finland and Sweden over a 12-year period. The conclusion was direct. Wood ash increased soil pH, improved potassium availability, and produced measurable yield increases without any supplemental synthetic fertilizer. 12 years, peer-reviewed, published, completely ignored by the commercial fertilizer industry's marketing apparatus. In 2019, Wageningen University in the Netherlands, one of the most respected agricultural institutions, published findings showing wood ash could fully replace lime amendments. The paper calculated the annual fertilizer cost savings for a mid-sized European organic farm at over 4,000 euros per year from ash alone. The paper was cited 87 times. It generated zero commercial products and zero changes to how fertilizer is sold or marketed. In the homesteading and permaculture communities, wood ash use never disappeared. They kept doing what every pre-industrial farmer already knew. Orchardists apply it around fruit trees to prevent potassium deficiency. Market gardeners use it to adjust pH before brassica planting. Beekeepers dust hive boxes to repel beetles. Composters layer it through their bins to accelerate decomposition and balance the carbon-nitrogen ratio. And in the DIY restoration world, a growing community of blacksmiths and woodworkers has rediscovered the power of ash as a polish. Ash paste on cast iron cookware. Ash slurry on tarnished copper. Ash and water scrub on oxidized aluminum camp gear. The results are documented and shared widely on forums and community groups because the results are real and the cost is zero. The knowledge never died. It was waiting in the ash pan of every wood stove that kept burning. Here is exactly what to do. This is the part they do not teach, so pay close attention. What you need: fully burned, gray-white wood ash from untreated, unpainted, chemical-free wood. No ash from plywood, painted lumber, pressure-treated wood, or printed paper. Hardwood ash, oak, hickory, beech, maple, contains the highest potassium carbonate concentration. Softwood ash works, but at lower concentration. A clean, dry container for storage. A pair of rubber gloves because ash lye is alkaline and extended skin contact causes irritation. That is genuinely everything. For soil and garden use, Spread dry ash directly onto garden beds at a rate of roughly 2 to 3 pounds per 100 square feet. Do this in autumn or early spring before planting. Work it lightly into the top inch of soil with a rake. Do not apply more than this. Excess alkalinity will harm plants. Do not apply around acid-loving plants like blueberries or azaleas. Do not apply when rain is imminent, as heavy rain washes the ash away before the soil can absorb it. For container plants, a lighter dusting around the base delivers potassium directly to the root zone with no risk of burn. Total cost? 0. Results visible in the next growing season. For ash lye soap, pack a clean plastic bucket with ash, leaving a few inches at the top. Pour rainwater slowly over the ash. Collect the liquid that drips from the bottom. This is your lye solution. Combine this lye solution with rendered animal fat or coconut oil in roughly a 1.1 ratio by weight. Stir continuously over low heat until the mixture thickens to the consistency of soft pudding. Pour into a mold and let cure. The result is a functional soap, the same chemistry that supplied the Roman legions. Total cost, whatever fat you have available. For metal cleaning, mix dry ash with water to form a paste. Apply to cast iron or tools using a damp cloth. Work in circular motions for 2 minutes. Rinse and dry. For cast iron, follow with oil to restore the seasoning. The silica abrasive removes oxidation. The potassium carbonate dissolves tarnish. The result is bright metal from a compound you produced for free. For survival, dry ash stored in a sealed bag weighs nothing. It's fertilizer, soap material cleaner, and a deodorizer for waste pits. The people who stocked their packs with ash were not doing something primitive. They were doing something we have been convinced to forget. Here is what I want you to hold on to after this video ends. Wood ash is not a survival hack. It is not a fringe tip from a niche homesteading channel. It is the oldest industrial chemical in human history. It built the soap that kept Roman soldiers alive in the rain. It fed the grain that sustained medieval cities through winter. It funded the trade routes of colonial America before there was a single factory on the continent. It earned patent number 1 from a government that had never issued a patent before. Because the founders understood that controlling your own alkali supply meant something fundamental about freedom. None of that knowledge was wrong. None of it stopped working. The chemistry does not change because a corporation found a more profitable alternative. Potassium carbonate still raises soil pH. It still saponifies fat into soap. It still dissolves tarnish from metal surfaces. It will still do all of those things 1,000 years from now because it is not a product. It is a law of chemistry. What changed was not the ash. What changed was who benefited from you knowing about it. When the knowledge was universal, 3 industries could not build subscription revenue models around those functions. Once the knowledge disappeared, those industries could sell you potassium fertilizer at $25 a bag and synthetic detergent at $12 a bottle, and branded metal polish at $20 a can, permanently, annually, generation after generation. You have a fireplace, a wood stove, a fire pit, or access to someone who does. Every winter, every campfire produces the same compound that ancient Mesopotamia considered worth trading across a continent. You do not need a laboratory. You do not need a subscription, a loyalty card, or a branded bottle with an aggressive marketing campaign. Some knowledge never truly disappears. It only waits in the gray-white powder at the bottom of the ash pan. If this vault changed how you look at what your fire leaves behind, subscribe and share this now. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside it may be the single most suppressed building material in human history.